Today on the Grizzled Weeb, we're watching Hellsing.
Woo! Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo.
Welcome to the Grizzled Weeb. I'm Kirsten.
Mike.
Shane. Doug.
And here we try to have wonderful little puppies and us watch awesome anime. I get to subject these old farts to awesome things.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, for sure. Today we're watching Hellsing. Anyone heard of that before?
I've heard of it. I've heard of Van Helsing.
Okay. Kind of.
Kind of.
This is one of the... Sorry, we'll have this fight the entire time, I'm sure. This is one of those animes that we are blessed with the wonderful decision of picking two different kinds because, well, just an overarch. Usually anime will get a second season because the first, or not a second season, but like a second try at it because the first time either they went too quickly for the actual manga to follow like what the writer was intending, so they'll go off and do their own thing, or just creative differences. They see a plot point and rather than follow what the writer wants, they'll go do their own thing.
So you're saying if Game of Thrones was an anime, there'd be another one coming out shortly because they outpaced you.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Or is it like the Fullmetal Alchemist where they did two different series?
100% like
one
that.
that followed actual manga, another one where they just kind of took the footage and made up their own story?
Yes,
Okay.
100% like that. So in Japan, what they like to do, which I wish the US would adopt, is when they do something poorly, they go in and like, hey, we could have done better with that, and they make a second one. So it's a like remake, but actually good.
Yeah.
Fixing mistakes that they want to, rather than let's make more money, so we'll make a remake like the US likes to do.
Yeah, unlike remaking
Yeah.
the Joker or
Really anything. In this case, we've got Hellsing, which is the original. I wish I would have gotten the date that it was released. I think it was 1991 or something like that. And then we have Hellsing Ultimate. It's widely agreed within the anime community that Hellsing Ultimate is the better version because it's the second version. It was able to see what Hellsing 1 did wrong, and it was able to see what they did in the manga, so they stuck with what the manga kind of did and followed that.
But there's a hardcore fan base that sticks to the first one.
You know, I'm not entirely sure. Hellsing's not one of those that's like people have a super like strong opinion about. It's just more one of those like if you watched it, then you're into it, and I'm sure you have an opinion one way or another, but I don't know if it's like
got a diehard community or
yeah,
anything like that.
like one is right and the other one is wrong or anything like that. One of the other things that is awesome about Hellsing is that we've got an abridged series that I think we're going to do a bonus episode for, but I want you guys to kind of see the first couple of episodes before we touch on that. So, I'm going to show you guys a picture of some cover art sort of deal. Okay. I want you to tell me what you think, who you think this character is, where you think the setting takes place, and what the story's about.
All right.
All right.
We're gonna make our own anime.
You don't have to make a full-length idea. Just what do you think this is about?
Wow.
I'll show you the picture as well, so you guys can see what it looks like.
Creepy looking dude.
Yeah, we'll put the graphic up.
Yep, so you guys can see.
He's got sharp teeth and an upside down cross, so maybe he's like a cultist or a vampire or something like that.
Okay. This guy's name is Alucard. He is the main character, so it does kind of show you a little bit.
But yeah, he's a vampire.
He's got a pentagram on it looks like a pentagram on the back of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's his hand, I can't tell from the picture.
This looks like something I wouldn't watch if I saw it on Netflix.
So, anime is one of those awesome things that art says a lot about what you're watching. And this is one of those pictures that, like, you can... If you know enough anime, you can gather enough about it to get a decent picture out of this. Right, he's got either vampire teeth or he's a cultist because he's got, the crosses and whatnot. got a very gothic, sort of darker look with lots of shadows to him and whatnot. So we know this is probably going to be a darker, more gory anime or something like that.
Yeah.
So he kind of looks a little insane, which is kind of the concept. We'll show the graphics so you guys can see it. All right. So what do you guys think?
I don't know. I mean,
We'll have to,
well, yeah, I don't really get much from that. Other than,
Okay.
Well, you know, I'm kind of hesitant to go because much like what was the first one we watched? That's escaping my mind now.
Death Note?
Death Note,
Yeah.
where at least initially the protagonist is actually a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of looking like that to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is going to be an anime where the protagonist is a bad guy, and you're going to want to eventually root for somebody else against him, even though it's told from his perspective.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking is
Okay.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good guess. Especially with crazy, scary-looking guy here, it's hard to say that's definitely a good guy. As the theme continues on, this is created by Madhouse. Ultimate is created by Madhouse. Pretty much most of the
I was
anime
gonna say,
we've
that's
watched
good.
up to this point is by Madhouse. Original was made by Digimation and Gonzo, which for back in the day were pretty popular anime studios. They did things like, you guys won't be familiar with it, but I'm sure these guys are, Romeo x Juliet, Rosario the Vampire, and Welcome to the NHK, which is huge, and we might cover that, but that's a weird one. Very popular anime for back in the day, but now people have heard of it, probably not watched it. So, plot, we've got Alucard, who is our main character. He is a vampire that works for the Hellsing family, who's sworn to protect the queen from the undead and the ghoul that threaten her. On a mission, he gathers a follower named Saris, and together they work to protect the queen from evil SS general hell-bent on destroying peace and giving rise to the army of Nazis. You heard right. Nazis in a vampire anime.
Nice.
This is a very ridiculous anime. It's extremely gory, but bloody and intriguing because, I mean, how many times do you get to watch Nazis in an anime? So
Vampires fighting Nazis.
Exactly. What
That
more
sounds
can
pretty
you
cool.
ask for? So I'm hoping you guys will enjoy it. It's not your average anime, and honestly, there's not a whole lot that's like it. It's like one of a kind.
Pretty unique. Yeah, that's cool.
It's different from your typical vampire story and just interesting to watch.
And typical Nazi story.
Vampire story, really.
Yeah.
So final thoughts, desires.
Well, I would say that I was going to point out that we brought Sheen on board because some of you say we've liked everything so far.
Yeah.
So
So
now
we brought our resident grump.
Yeah, we brought in our negative Nancy in.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: I don't like Overlord, so.
I don't like
I mean, I didn't hate Overlord, but for as far as Overlord goes, I felt everything Overlord did, Sword Art Online did better. I'm going to catch a lot of flack about that because a lot of people are like, it's just Sword Art Online is just wish fulfillment. I recognize that, but I like that. So.
Right.
All right, so send your hate mail to
Shane, the Grizzled Geek at gmail.com.
Bombard him.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Watch the first 3 episodes and come back at you with what we think. That's
Sounds
what
good.
I think. Where? Wow. Super bless you. You're a vampire. I thought we covered this already.
Yeah.
And we're back! We finished only 2 episodes. There was a minor mishap in which we realized we were watching the old anime and we wanted to watch the Ultimate, and Ultimate just so happens to be like 50 minutes long an episode.
Yeah.
So we ended up watching only 2 episodes instead of the 3 that we normally do, but they're longer episodes.
Like 2 hours of it so far.
Yeah.
So
It's the length of a movie, but there was certainly not the development of a movie.
No, definitely not.
There's 10 episodes, so we effectively got through a fifth of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, still the story hasn't really. I mean,
gone anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know.
We got a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, we got backstory. I mean, it's definitely a very interesting concept. You know, is he supposed to be Dracula? Is that he's?
I don't know.
They call him Count. They call him Count.
I don't think he's supposed to be the Dracula.
I don't know. He's pretty badass.
Yeah, well, I would go far enough to say he's badder than Dracula ever was.
Right.
Oh yeah, Dracula never did that kind of stuff. I'm like, wow. Well, I mean, isn't it? I guess it's a common trope to have someone like ultimately powerful,
right?
In these anime, which is kind of my problem with some of them. You know, like definitely we were talking about Overlord before. Like, you know, there's no real threat.
Right.
You know, I don't know, I thought that Paladin guy was going to be a threat initially because he came across like a badass, but then when it came down to it, you're like, well, what?
Well, you didn't really account for the fact that Hellsing is immortal in the ways that you could normally kill a vampire.
Right, so how can you kill him? Or does he have any weaknesses?
I'm sure we'll find out.
Or is he, you know...
Well, apparently he's got a weakness programmed into him.
Alright.
That he's like capped at a certain power level unless he does some sort of ritual there where he's like, bah, until I beat this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're like, whoa, okay.
And there's something with Ceres not being able to drink the blood, whether it be a loss of humanity or maybe a loss of her master.
Yeah.
So it did sort of have a feel that he was pleading with her to almost like end it for him.
Right.
So.
And she's pretty badass for being, you know, a new vampire, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, when you come from the
when you come from the I guess, yeah. That's the way it works.
You kind of have to be at least a little bit cool.
That's true. I'm glad she finally got a name in the second episode. Police girl. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Like you said, it's a cool concept. I'm not necessarily digging the execution.
Pacing
like
is terrible.
Yeah, pacing is really slow. And then when you get into action, it's like those frenetic cutscenes where you're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And then you add in the chibi-esque things
right.
with Sarah, and you're like, oh, this takes me right out of this.
Yeah, and the chibi stuff was like out of nowhere.
Maybe it's supposed to lighten the mood from this, but it already had enough comedy. I mean,
it had like a serious tone, and then all of a sudden that, and you're like, whoa,
she's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's a little
that's
wrong.
Fairly common in most of the animes I've seen.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
when they go comic, that's what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like the not on the head trope, right, from American cartoons. Somebody gets hit in the head. If it's comic at all, they get a big giant knock.
Yeah.
Right.
Those faces and those actions are I found in a lot of animes is how they express that. So
got it.
If you think the pacing for this is slow, dear God, do not try the original Hellsing.
The original ones have that.
Because, oh my God, all I remember is just it going on and on and on, and it was like nothing made sense. All of a sudden you were here, and then you were there, and then somehow this related to that, and this related to this, and it just like...
Right.
You had no clue what you were watching.
Basically, we had watched 2 hours of this, and we had 2 fights, basically.
Yeah.
Right? I mean...
There's lots of killing of ghouls.
Lots of killing of ghouls, but yeah, that was pretty much, it was 2 fights, right? 2 big bad guys. One of them was like a fellow vampire hunter.
Right.
Yeah.
There's he's like the Catholics versus the Protestants.
Right.
Right? And then the second one was this new, whatever the new faceless enemy is, the Millennium, sending their 2 vampire badasses and ghouls, right?
Yeah.
To attack the headquarters. But outside of that, we got very little of we got a little bit of background, right?
Right.
He had like one dream flashback, a little bit. You know, we got the initial where she, you know,
she resurrects
him. And,
she does.
Yeah, so he's like the guardian now. You know, and a little bit about what they do as an organization. They hunt vampires, and a little bit of the vampire background, right?
Right.
How ghouls work and vampires work, and then they break that rule in the second episode.
Right.
Right? They're like, this is how, these are the rules for vampires and ghouls.
Right.
And now, like, second episode's like, oh, well, I guess that doesn't.
Except somebody's doing it different.
Somebody's doing it differently, so throw those rules out. You learned last episode.
Right.
Yeah, it took them an hour and a half to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously the main plot of the series is how are these, why all of a sudden they break the rules?
Right.
Right.
So it took me an hour and a half to set up the rules and break them.
Right.
It should have been an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was like and I pointed out when we were talking off camera before when that fight with the paladin, where they're like, I mean, literally when they draw it out, right? They're like walking. I understand like the big bad guy introductions or the good guy introductions, or whatever, you know. But that kind of drew out to ridiculous lengths where they start walking toward each other. First off, they're not that far apart to begin with. They start walking, and then you see like the paladin's feet walking, and then his feet's walking, and then them walking by the window, and then finally they meet. And you're just like, come on, let's get there. We know we know what's going on.
So the first 2 episodes mirror the old stuff pretty like spot on. So I feel like a lot of the pacing, while it's also trying to explain a lot of things that the first one didn't really explain, like the original Hellsing didn't explain. Yeah. I feel like a lot of it also is like bringing back to life something that the fans had like killed. Because they were like, I don't want this isn't my Hellsing, and now they brought it back and they want to show like, this is the new Hellsing, this is what it was supposed to be, look how badass he is and how he always was, this is what we want to bring back. Right. So I feel like some of it is probably playing to the old fans to bring them in, lure them into this new stuff.
I can see that. I just see like where, but you can also tell where there was like, they added exposition dump.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? You're like, it's like action, and then all of a sudden someone goes off like, wow, that was extraneous. I wonder if that's going to be important later.
I've heard good things about this. I have the feeling that this show suffers from what a lot of like good anime series do, is the fact that the individual episodes are terrible, but the series as a whole is freaking awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Like once you get the whole story out, it's great. But trying to trudge through the actual individual episodes is a pain.
Right.
I literally almost fell asleep at one point. The sad part was it was during the action scene.
Right.
I just found myself nodding off for a second.
Wait, what was going on?
So, you guys were talking about how the show was like really dark. Yes. Not like gruesome dark, but like visually dark. And wanted you to kind of expound upon that and kind of explain.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to see a lot of the action, right? A lot of it is supposed to be in the shadows, right? Yeah. Vampires supposed to be in the shadows, but a lot of it is just like a blur of light to represent movement, right? Yeah. And eyes, the glowing eyes, right? The glowing glasses.
It's everybody's wearing round glasses that light's reflecting off of.
Right.
And they did, and the bad guys got the red glowing eyes, or the the protagonist got the good red glowing eyes. The bad guys got the white glowing or blue glowing eyes. Yeah. So that's how they separate them in the darkness. But there's a lot of action going on that we're not really sure. There's like flashes of light, lines of movement, and then it'll cut the blood spilling, right? And then you're like, okay. Then you gotta wait for the next scene to see what happened, right? Was it the good guy that got hurt? Was it the bad guy that got hurt? Or I guess good and bad is kind of relative in this.
I think a lot of this is due to what they call black crush, which happens with the newer flat panel TVs. Is where they can't differentiate between different layers of black. Like on old CRT, you could shade something slightly less black and be able to see it. With the new TVs, it just crushes everything into the same shade of black.
Right.
Which is a problem I've been having since I started watching stuff on flat panel TVs. But the first example I remember of was during the Kate Beckinsale vampire movies.
Oh, Underworld?
Underworld, yeah. And then I'd watch a scene and I remember watching this in the theater and I could see what was going on and it was just a massive black and then one corner that wasn't. Yeah. So I think these shows weren't designed for our current TVs.
Right.
So that might be part of it, but it happens with all of the super dark stuff.
Yeah.
You can't. This is one of the problems. You can't see anything.
Right. I would agree. And I also think that that's kind of like the intention is like, you're afraid of the dark, and dark things happen in the dark, so it's scary to not know what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like, is the bad guy dead? Is he okay? What's happening? And then, like, being brought to light what's actually going on. So I feel like that's kind of the effect that they're going for, but I also agree with you that I feel like it's a little overdone. There's a lot that you do end up missing, and while we understand the effect that you're trying to get is that it's dark and it's scary and mysterious, you don't really know what's going on. It's also helpful to know what's going on.
Right. Yeah. It's more storytelling. I mean, it's okay to set the mood, but then you need to lighten it up so that you can tell what's going on after that point.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's just cheaper to animate a couple flashes of light.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's a big part of it. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I like, it was a little, I like the police girl, like, she joined up pretty easily.
Right.
I mean, yeah, she's a vampire, she didn't have much choice, she was either dead or vampire. But,
well, and she's not a free will vampire.
Yeah,
Alucard's her master, and she's kind of compelled to do what he tells her to. And they treat it as like she's very worshipful of him. Right. It's like, oh, he's my master. Oh, no.
Yeah, which was part of the offer when he asked her to drink his blood was, would she like to be free-willed?
Yeah, and she rejected it. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. But she's going to take to the vampire life pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like part of her enjoys it.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't want to sleep in a coffin.
Part of her enjoys it, I think, but and I feel like the beginning part kind of alludes to the fact that she's got a purpose beyond this. That's the reason why she chose vampire over death.
Yeah.
But she also holds on to that part of her humanity. She's not drank any blood. She's tried to avoid any like combat if she can until blood rage comes out and she does her thing, but. There's definitely a component of her like fighting for her humanity or, the deed that she has to do, I guess.
I just want to pick a nit. They literally gave her an anti-tank rifle and then told her it doesn't work against.
It doesn't work against tanks, yeah.
Now, it doesn't work against modern armor. That's sure that anti-tank rifles were done away with. But literally, they're like, it's a 30mm anti-tank rifle, but it doesn't work against.
Sort of a tank, they say.
Yeah, right. Yeah, your modern tank. Went through those.
It's convenient they gave her that gun that would be practically, worthless in any situation. Oh, other than a flame duels with the armored shields.
Yeah.
Hey, now perfect.
And it went through like 5 ranks of them.
Yeah.
Armored shield. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty cool. I could get into this, like I said, if it was just a little bit quicker paced, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think an hour an episode is a bit much for this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if it was shave off 20 minutes of that.
Or if more happened.
In
that hour.
Yeah, that's the thing is you think about, because we usually address that, would we keep watching this?
Right.
It's hard. What's that?
So before we get into whether or not we would watch it again, all that other stuff, let's rate it so that we have an idea of where you stand. So 1 to 10, what did you think, Doug?
6.5.
6.5. Justifications for your 6.5.
Justify that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
defend that.
It's a good story, or it has the potential to be a good story.
Sure.
2 episodes in, or let's be more clear, an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes in, we don't know for sure whether it's going to be a good story. Yeah. So that's, and then the dark and often too quick cut, frenetic.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise it could be really good, but it's not quite there in my book. So, 6.5.
All right, how about you, Shane?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 6.5.
6.5?
Yeah, it's everything Doug said. I mean, literally, it's got potential.
Yeah, it's not awful.
It's something, if, like I said, I watch a lot of stuff on Netflix because it's easy.
Yeah.
And if it's something like I watched the first episode on Netflix, it would be something I put off to finish until I had nothing else on Netflix to watch.
Makes sense.
But, and be like, okay, well, I'll watch this now, as opposed to something I would just never watch.
Right.
So.
Mike?
I'm going to give it a 6. I am not clicking with the main protagonist.
Okay.
Like, I mean, we've only seen him, 2 episodes worth, but he's too, I don't know. I mean, I like, was it Sarah was her name?
Sarah Victoria. Sarah's Victoria.
Yeah, she's cool. I actually like her. Right? If I continued watching this, it would be for her growth, which I'm assuming, which is the point behind the series.
Right.
Is her growth, because he's not a little growth for him. He's just like this big, ultimately powerful.
How he got to where he was.
Yeah. I mean, so
his stagnation and her growth from it.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, he just. I have a hard time clicking with like the all-powerful type characters, So, and it's just his personality-wise, other than this creepy, smiley vampire guy, you know, I don't really, you know, I don't really connected with him yet. So 6 for me.
Okay. I'd probably rate it around a 7. Most of my appeal to this is 1, vampires. I love vampires. 2, blood. I love blood. And 3, just the concept when I originally watched it was so cool, and I wanted it to be great. And Alucard in the original was so cool, and to have him be brought back to life in Ultimate was what I wanted. But I agree with you guys. I feel like the pacing's pretty slow. There's a lot of stuff that's like out of focus, and I know that's intentional to some degree, but at some point you're like, I don't know what I'm watching, because you literally cannot see what you're watching. So I feel like there's a lot that could be improved upon it. Not that there will be any improvement, because usually you get yeah. There's only going to be 1 remake, usually.
Yeah.
So that being said, I do think that Ultimate is better than the original, having watched both so far. So far it's been better in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't like the story to get more confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you can follow this along. You know we know what's happening in this version.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So, would you continue watching it, Doug?
Probably not.
No.
There's only 10 episodes, but they're 45-minute, 50-minute episodes. So that's like another 7 hours to get the story told.
Right.
And I'm not sure that it pulled me enough. Let's say of the ones we've watched so far, this is the least likely to continue.
Okay. Okay.
All of the other ones I would be like more interested in continuing before this one.
Sure. How about you, Shane?
Yeah, like I said, if it's on Netflix and I got nothing else, then yeah, I'd probably continue watching just because I'm intrigued.
Right.
But it's not something I would go out of my way to watch, especially like it's the episodes are too long. I need enough like.
It's got a short attention span. It's got to catch.
I don't have enough time to invest in it.
Yeah.
And if there was more resolution at the end of every episode, I would definitely watch it.
Right.
You know, it's the one thing I think a lot of anime suffer from is that they can't get short arcs within a major arc for a resolution. You have to have a conflict. You know, you got to resolve something every episode.
Right.
And they don't do it. And this one definitely didn't resolve anything. It just in an hour and a half, nothing got resolved.
Right.
And I can't invest so much time in. Because it just indicates to me that in 10 hours or 10 hours, nothing is going to get resolved.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of, it's kind of how I felt. I mean, not to the same extent, but when I watched Overlord, right, I finished season 1 of Overlord, and I actually going to watch season 2. I actually got into it by the end of it, but I was like, kept waiting for him to get to a certain point in season 1, and it's never got there to like at the very end, kind of.
Right.
So then I'm like, and then they kind of tease that we're going to go that direction in the second season, and I'm like, man, I just invested, a whole season in this series, and I think I like that a little bit more because I can see what's going on, and they still have the same problem with the ultimate powerful protagonist, but I think he's a little more relatable than this one is so far. I mean, you might get different.
Well, at least he's a human.
Yeah.
Yeah, pure monster that you're watching. Right now.
It's true. I don't know. I mean, like I said, when I watch it again, I don't know if it's the least of the ones we've watched so far. If I had to choose between this and Attack on Titan, I don't know.
Oh, that's true.
I would
never watch more Attack on Titan. I would consider more of this.
Yeah.
True enough. I forgot about that one.
I had a gun to my head, and I had to watch Victor and 2. I'm like, I don't know. I'd watch this one before that.
Yeah. But before Attack on Titan.
Like Shane said, if I had more time, more disposable time on my hands, I might,
Right.
Yeah. But I got TV shows that I really love that I haven't caught up on.
Right.
But, so I probably won't watch it going forward.
I'll probably rewatch, or continue to watch, rather. Just because I have high hopes for it. I know what I want it to be, and it's close enough to what I want it to be that I will watch hoping that it becomes that. So I'll probably at least watch a couple more episodes before deciding whether or not I'm going to...
Well, you're already invested, basically.
Right,
yes.
Right. Yeah.
You don't got that when you watch it?
Oh, yeah.
Put my mascara in this.
Throw my mascara all over my eyes. think it's been, or
Second
maybe,
time.
second time.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
Weeb's trash.
Yeah.
So.
Attack on Titan was the other one.
Yeah.
We were all.
We're all kind of
Yeah. I came into that pretty frequently.
finishing on two beloved anime series.
I don't even understand that because the main character is so unlikable.
In Attack on Titan?
On Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
At least this guy is somewhat interesting, even if overpowered.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, I'm intrigued about this. Oh, he's got a demon trapped in him. What's going on? Oh, that's interesting.
Why is he so overpowered, right? Like,
Yeah.
Why doesn't he have to follow the same rules as all the other vampires? That's
Yeah, I'm not annoyed watching him like I am watching Aaron.
Yep.
Attack on Titan, so. Yeah, definitely. Although both shows admittedly have an awesome concept.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you
just execution.
Yep.
Yeah.
Questionable. Well, there you have it. Weeb Trash. Tell us what you think of Hellsing so far. Have you tried Ultimate? Have you seen the original? Which is your favorite and why? All the links down below and how to support us are in the Underpants card down below. We're trying to get to 5,000, correct?
Yeah, 5,000 subscribers. Share this. Share it around.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Yeah.
Our Patreon links down below.
Yep.
If you like Ruby, we do Ruby watchings. We've got exclusive content over there. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and catch us next time. I think we're going to watch Inuyasha.
Ooh, Inuyasha.
All right. See ya.
Bye.